At the beginning of the story, we see a dangerous prison in America where many prisoners were working. In this prison, we see a young Paul who works as a prison guard here. Paul was in the washroom at this time and he was having a lot of trouble urinating because he had a kind of infection. Just then his fellow guard came there and he told Paul that a new prisoner has come. Outside, another guard named Percy was taking a tall and fat prisoner. Percy was repeatedly saying dead men walking, which meant that this prisoner was going to die soon because he was sentenced to death. Percy was a very dirty man and he also treated the prisoners very badly. After this, the prisoner was taken inside where Paul was present. Paul took this prisoner inside the cell and asked his name. That prisoner told his name John Coffey. That prisoner was a little older in size, but his mind was like that of a child. He asked Paul whether there is light here at night. I feel scared from inside. On this, Paul told him that there is always light here. Don't worry. Before leaving the cell, John extended his hand towards Paul. Seeing this, all the guards became alert, but Paul shook hands with him again. As soon as Paul went out, John told him crying that I tried a lot to stop you, but I could not. Paul did not understand this. Then Paul saw the file of this prisoner, after which we come to know the reason for John Coffey being there. Two girls suddenly disappeared from a house. When the whole village reached a jungle searching for them, the bodies of those two girls were lying in John Coffey's lap, and John was repeatedly shouting that I tried a lot to stop them but could not. Everyone thought that John had killed those two girls, and for this John was sentenced to death. After reading this file, Paul now started cleaning the electric chair with one of his companions. Those prisoners who were sentenced to death were made to sit on this chair. They were given shocks until they died. Actually, such dangerous prisoners who were sentenced to death were sent to this jail. Meanwhile, they heard laughter from outside, and when they went outside, they saw that one of their fellow guards was laughing. He asked both of them to look ahead. There was a rat in front of them to whom the guard gave a piece of biscuit. As soon as it ate the biscuit, the rat went inside the dungeon. This made these three suspicious that this rat might make a hole in the prison. It is possible that some prisoner might escape from there by enlarging that hole. To catch the rat, they took out all the stuff from the dungeon, but they could not find that rat. Now all three were surprised that three guards could not find a rat. The next day the rat came there again. Two guards saw him and gave him biscuits to eat. Percy was also present there and he thought that this rat should be killed. But that rat again saved its life and went inside the dungeon. Percy started taking out all the stuff in anger. Just then Paul and his companion came there. His companion wanted to tell Percy that we also did the same yesterday. But Paul said to his companion that let it keep quiet. It is good. It will be upset. Percy took out all the stuff inside, but he could not find that rat anywhere. His efforts were also in vain. On top of that, he will have to put all the stuff taken out back inside. He got angry and started misbehaving with the guard. Just then the guard accompanying Paul caught his trick. Percy threatened him that if you do anything to me, I will take away your job. Actually, Percy had some acquaintance with the governor here, which he used to take undue advantage of. At this time, there was a financial crisis all over the world, due to which it was very difficult for people to get jobs. Due to this, no one wanted to put their job in danger, but Paul was not afraid of his threat. He told Percy that he knew how far Percy's influence was, but from today onwards, if he threatened any guard, then they would not sit quietly, even if it meant losing their job. The next day when Paul was working, he heard someone laughing. When he went outside, he saw that the sound was coming from the room of a prisoner named Dale. At this time, Dale had the same mouse because of which he was getting so much trouble. Dale was very happy to get this mouse, and he told that this is his pet. This mouse obeys everything he says. He threw a roll which the mouse brought back. Dale named the mouse Mr. Jingles. John Coffey from the nearby cell said that your mouse is very intelligent. He was really a child in a torn body. Anyway, Paul was called by the jail warden, whose name was Hill. Hill and Paul had a very good friendship. The warden told Paul that a new prisoner is going to come in the jail, who is very dangerous. He killed 3 people while committing a theft, one of whom was a pregnant woman. Also, the warden is very worried because soon his wife is going to die of brain tumor. because that tumor was in such a place where operation is not possible. The warden got very emotional on this. He could not understand how to tell his wife that she is going to die. The next day Paul was waiting for prisoner Williams at the door, but due to his urinary infection he was having trouble even standing. Then John Coffey called him and asked him to come near him. On this, John told him to be a little careful. When that dangerous prisoner William was brought in, he suddenly attacked the guards. Hearing the noise, Paul also reached there, but William attacked him between his legs. Poor Paul's balls also got broken. On top of that, he had an infection there too. Now Paul fell down due to pain. Somehow Paul got up and pointed the revolver towards William, but William was holding the guard in front of him. Percy was also standing with him. Paul said to Percy, "What are you looking at? Attack him." But Percy was very scared. Percy was not only a mean man but also a coward. Then another guard came there who snatched a stick from Percy's hand and attacked William, after which William was taken into custody. Everyone got busy with their work, but Paul was in a lot of pain, and he lay down on his stomach groaning. Then again John Coffey's voice came. He said, "Listen to me, I have some work." Somehow John went to him in pain. As soon as he came near, John caught him and pulled him towards the bars, and put his hand on the same place where Paul had infection. Suddenly the light of the bulb inside the cell started increasing, and it increased so much that the bulb burst. With this, Paul's pain completely disappeared. John sat inside the coffee cell and started coughing. And the next moment something like ash started coming out of his mouth, which dissolved in the air and disappeared. Paul asked him, "What did you do?" John told that, "I have helped you. What else? But now I am very tired. I want to sleep." Now Paul went to the washroom, but he did not feel any pain at all. That means he was completely cured. Now John's image completely changed in Paul's eyes. Paul went to the lawyer who had John's case. He wanted to know John Coffey's entire history, whether he had committed any murder before. The lawyer told him that John Coffey was never seen before that day. He was seen for the first time in that forest, and that too with the dead bodies of two girls. Everyone believed that he must be wandering here and there in search of a job. The other prisoner William was causing a lot of trouble to everyone. Sometimes he would spit on Paul's face, sometimes he would shit on someone, and once he caught Percy when he got a chance. Percy was so scared by his teasing that he wet his pants. William was locked in the dungeon for these misdeeds. Now the day of Dale's death came, but he was very worried about who would take care of his mouse, Mr. Jingles, after his death. A guard assured him that, "We will send your mouse to the circus. It will do well there and will also be safe." Just then the rat came out of the cell and Percy crushed it with his foot and moved ahead as if nothing had happened. Dale started crying loudly on the death of his rat. John Coffey was also watching all this there. He said, "Bring this rat to me quickly." Paul picked up the rat and placed it in his hand. John took it in his hands and blew, and a very bright light lit up between his hands. Then the same ashes came out of his mouth again. Everyone was surprised to see this, and the very next moment the rat came alive again and went to Dale. But now the time had come for Dale's death. He was seated on the funeral chair. This time Percy was in charge of his death. Actually, Percy had promised that if he was made in charge of someone's punishment, he would take a transfer from here, for which he had already applied, and due to his connections he would get the approval. A wet sponge was placed on the head of the person who was to be given the death sentence, so that the current would pass through his brain quickly and death would happen quickly. The person would not be troubled much. But Percy intentionally placed a dry sponge on Dale's head, due to which he got a very painful death. Paul was very angry after Dale's tragic death, and he threatened Percy that, "If you don't leave from here as soon as possible, I will write a complaint against you that when William attacked us, your hands trembled. Despite being strong, you could not attack. You are not fit to be a prison guard. And that day when he caught you, your pants got wet." Percy panicked and promised that he would get out of here as soon as possible. Now, as soon as Paul reached outside John's cell, he saw that John was crying a lot. He said that, "I could feel Dale's pain, and Mr. Jingles also felt his pain." So that mouse ran away from there. Also, John said that he was very tired and wanted to sleep. After this, we see Paul having lunch at his home. The rebel guards who worked with him in the jail were also there. In the conversation, John Coffey's name came up and how he had brought the rat back to life, and Paul also told that he had cured his bladder infection. Now all of them together wanted to help Warden Hale, whose wife has a brain tumor. Their plan was to take John Coffey to the warden's house at night. The night before this whole plan, they made William, the prisoner in the adjacent cell, unconscious by giving him sleeping pills and beer, and then caught Percy and put him in the dungeon. When they were taking John away, we saw that William was still conscious. He grabbed John's arm and John started shivering very hard as if he was in a lot of pain. In this way, William freed John, after which William again became unconscious. When John came out of the jail, he was very happy to see the stars in the open sky. He touched the grass and soil. It seemed as if he was able to talk to this earth. No matter how grown up John was in character, in mind he was just a 4-year-old child. They were taking John in a truck. Now the guard asked John, "Do you know where we are taking you?" John replied that to help a woman, but he did not know how he knew all this. As soon as he reached outside the warden's house, the warden got scared. He thought that someone had escaped from the jail and had come there to take revenge on him, after which he got alert and picked up the gun. But Paul explained to him that we have come to help you. Then John was taken inside to the warden's wife. The warden's wife is very ill and now she had lost her mental balance. John went to the warden's wife. John's wife asked him what his name was. He said John Coffey, drinker coffee, only the spelling is a little different. He used to tell his name like a child. Then he took his mouth near the warden's wife's mouth and sucked her entire illness inside his body. But this time, unlike every time, no ash came out of his mouth and John's condition worsened. The warden's wife was now completely fine, but she did not remember anything since she found out about the illness. Now she asked John his name again. Before he could tell his name, the warden's wife told him her name, meaning she remembered John's words to some extent. Now she came to John and said that I had a dream where it was very dark, but you came to me as a light and saved me. She took off the chain from her neck and put it on John and hugged him. Then John was taken to jail from there, but John's condition was very bad. At the same time, Percy was taken out of the dungeon with the promise that he would get a transfer from here as soon as possible. After coming out, Percy was passing by John's cell. Then John pulled Percy and put all the illness of the warden's wife inside him, due to which Percy's condition started deteriorating. He reached William's cell staggering a bit and suddenly fired bullets at William, after which he himself fell down and started writhing in pain. Now the same ashes started coming out of Percy's mouth. Seeing all this, Paul understood that John had done something wrong. Now Percy had got the illness of the warden's wife. Paul asked John why he did this. John told him that both of them were very bad men. When William held John's hand, John looked inside him. He told Paul to hold his hand and he would show him what kind of a man he was. As soon as Paul held John's hand, he saw everything that John had seen. The 2 girls whose murder John was accused of were actually killed by William. That's why John killed William through Percy. The next day, the warden asked Paul if this whole incident had anything to do with what happened at his house, but Paul flatly denied it. Percy was admitted to the same mental hospital where Percy was about to get himself transferred. Now Paul knew that John was innocent. He went to John and asked him what he wanted. He told John that I can send you very far away. No one will be able to find you there. But John did not want that. He said that he was fed up with this freedom. He was fed up seeing the hatred in the hearts of humans for each other. He could not tolerate all this. Every day he feels the pain of humans and now he wants that he should be punished as soon as possible. Paul said, "How will I face God? I know you are innocent. How can I let you die?" But John said, "By punishing me, you will only be helping me." He did not want to live in this world anymore. Paul asked him to tell him whatever he wanted. John ordered a lot of food items and expressed his desire to watch a movie. Everyone together showed John the movie. Now the day of John's punishment came. When Paul and the rest of the guards went to John, John told them that today he had a dream in which Mr. Jingle had reached a circus. There were many children there, including those 2 girls who Williams had killed. Now John was made to sit on an electric chair. The relatives and parents of those 2 girls were also present. The parents of those girls spoke very badly to John. John could feel their hatred, Paul asked John if he wanted to say some last words. John was very sad that he could not save those girls. As soon as his face was being covered with a cloth, John told Paul that I am afraid of darkness. Please do not cover my face. Paul agreed to this. Seeing an innocent man die, all the guards were in tears. Paul shook hands with John for the last time, and John told him in his mind that just like those two girls were killed, a lot of wrong things are happening in the world. Humans hate humans. He cannot live here anymore. Paul was having a lot of trouble giving the order to turn on the electric chair, but finally he had to give the order and poor John Coffey died. After this, we see an old Paul telling this story to his friend. Paul said that the last punishment for me and my friends was death. After that, all the guards got themselves transferred to the place where minor criminals were brought. They tried their best to reform them by educating them. But Eli did not believe Paul's story. To gain his trust, Paul took him along for a walk, the same wooden house where he used to go every morning. When both of them went inside that cottage, they saw that Mr. Jinkles, that is, the same rat that was with that prisoner in the jail, is still alive. Paul told that when this rat was in pain, John helped it, and while curing it, he probably transferred a part of his power to it, and that is why this rat is still alive. And when John showed him through telepathy how William killed the girls, then John gave a small part of his power to Paul even though he did not want to. Paul said that I am 108 years old. I have lived a very long life. I have seen many good and bad things. I have buried my entire family. And one day Eli will also leave his life. Perhaps this is his punishment and this is his atonement. After this, Eli also died some time later. Now Paul was lying in bed remembering all the people who came and went in his life. He was thinking that when John gave such a long life to a mouse like Mr. Jingles, then he is still a human being. He doesn't know how many years he will live.